Second question kind of goes hand in hand with that. How does it feel to be quite literally the face of CCA?
It just feels weird.
As a former CCA-TV host, face of the CCA website, and recent USC Film School graduate, Jason Phillips was generous enough to come in for an interview where we discuss CCA's ever-changing culture and Jason's current work in the feature production industry. So, how would you describe the culture of your graduating class?
That's a good question. The culture of my graduating class was extremely welcoming and fun and a very safe environment. CCA was always about the arts, and so that's kind of what our school embodied, as well as a love for the sports that we did have. I don't know, I found this school to be an incredibly welcoming place where it really allowed me to be who I wanted to be and grow and learn. And the teachers were all very supportive. I'm still friends with my entire high school group. I still work with people that I did cinema conservatory with. So I would describe it as a very warm and fun environment. Do you guys still have the nest?
We do have the nest, yeah.
Okay, Mrs. Trufo used to teach the nest.
What does that
She
mean?
was, the class. Is there still a class for the nest?
I don't know. I think it's just a place now.
There was a class.
Oh, it's not a cafe anymore?
It's still like...
Yeah, it's like a little cafe.
Who runs the cafe?
These two ladies, I don't know their names.
Okay, this is a huge change. The nest used to be run entirely by students.
Really?
So there was a class that was a business management class.
Okay.
So you would take the class, students would be managers, so I managed the front of the nest, which meant presentations, shows, and then you would work behind the counter and just serve things, and you would do multiple periods, or you would do during lunch, and you had to do one shift. I think it was a week, so that's interesting. Jeannie Trufo taught that. The nest for us was open second, lunch, third, and fourth, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, so you could kind of go anytime.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
All right. How do you think CCA has prepared you for your life in film school and life in general?
I mean, CCA Cinema Conservatory really prepared me for film school. Doing these 5-minute videos had me, and intermediate or advanced film and video film, making stuff all the time really prepared me for college, because college is a very similar format. So it's one of those things that, like, when you're making all the time and constantly forced to make under a short timeline, that's what's expected of you in film school, and it's also kind of what's expected of you in the real world. You have a certain amount of time to make it, and you kind of got to make it happen. But I would say that conservatory shaped who I am for both film school and for my professional life in film.
Okay. So obviously we have a lot of people here looking to go to USC or USC Film School. How would you describe your time there?
It was great. USC was an extremely fun place to be. It's extremely hard, but at the same time it gave me a lot of resources and tools where I could definitely take what I learned here to a different level and set me up for my career in film. I mean, knock on wood, wherever that is. Hopefully that continues going how I wanted to. I would say that USC and film school in general was a great place for me to explore different genres. I made a Western, I made a sci-fi. I just produced my first period piece feature length with USC and Warner Brothers. So it really set me up for a lot of cool things.
Obviously, the film school is very difficult to get into. What advice would you give students here who might be aspiring to do something similar?
That's a hard question. Whenever someone asks me, how did you do it or how do you get in? I think my advice to any person who wants to go into film school or any area of the arts is just be yourself. Make what you like, make what you want to do. Don't make a video that's geared towards what you think people will like, because ultimately that's not the true person you were or are. I submitted a film called Milquetoast that you can probably still see on CCA-TV.
So what projects are you currently involved in?
After graduating USC, I went into freelancing and physical production, so I mainly work in producing departments for movies, for independent features, usually between the $250K to a 2.5 mil range of movies. And I usually work as a coordinator or some sort of member of the department. I want to produce and direct. I produced my first feature with Warner Brothers and USC last year, and we hire a bunch of alumni to come back as well and work on that. So that's kind of the name of my game. I work fully in the feature world. Done a lot of beauty campaigns and fashion campaigns as well. You kind of just jump from project to project if you're working in freelancing. It's a little bit different than working as an assistant, which is also a great path as well in different ways. Right now, specifically in production, coordinating an independent feature starring Vincent Kartheiser from Mad Men. He played Pete Campbell, if you watched the show. It's been really fun. It's been a wild adventure. I'm doing some 20-hour days recently, which has been pretty wild and fun, but I'm working full-time in the film industry. So since I've finished producing my first feature, I'm hoping to produce another one this year. I'm writing a feature right now as well, and I'm trying to do a little bit more directing this year because that's kind of where I want to go. It's just got to support myself at the same time.
And wrapping up our talk on the industry,
yeah.
If you could change one thing about the film industry today, what would it be?
That is an interesting question. There are a lot of problems with the industry, as we've seen in this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that gets into a really, complicated answer.
Yeah.
One, I think more opportunities for all different types of people is something that's happening, but needs to continue to happen, and not just regress back to the archaic ways of the past. I think we need more public releases of different types of content. I think that's specifically for the LGBT community. We get a couple indie movies a year, but we don't get any big releases of Marvel movies. And so I think that's something where I'd really like to see that change, just more studios taking more risks on showing stories about diverse characters without the diversity being their main struggle, and then focusing on just them being the main character and embracing these cool movies. So I think if anything, it's just more about supporting. If there's one thing I would change about the film industry, it's just that we continue to support diverse voices and characters and stories to enhance overall communication about life and about different walks of life. One thing I want to do in my career is do a lot of movies that focus on the LGBT community. My thesis in school was an action adventure romantic comedy western LGBT movie, which doesn't really exist in the sphere of westerns. And so I want more movies like that reframe classic narratives with all different types of people, because if you don't do that, then you kind of limit the imagination of what someone in different communities is able to do or imagine. And so I think it's time for exploring that kind of representation in a more fun way, rather than it just always being really dark and dramatic and about tortured souls. While I really respect and appreciate showing the struggle of all of these communities, I think it's really important also to show these communities, specifically in the LGBT, having fun and enjoying their lives as well, and being the Superman or being the Batman, and just restructuring the narrative.